Have you ever wondered what would actually happen if you stopped eating sugar for an entire month? Not carbohydrates, not fruit, just the added sugar hiding in soft drinks, desserts, sweets, pastries, flavored coffee, and many processed foods. You've probably heard people say that quitting sugar will completely transform your body. Others claim sugar is basically poison, and removing it will solve almost every health problem. On the other hand, some people argue that sugar is perfectly harmless and that all calories are the same. So who's right? The truth is somewhere in the middle, and it's far more interesting than either extreme. Your body doesn't go through a magical detox. Your metabolism doesn't suddenly reset overnight. But if you've been eating a lot of added sugar, reducing it for just 30 days can trigger several meaningful changes in your brain, metabolism, and overall health. Let's walk through exactly what happens inside your body and, just as importantly, why it happens. The first thing you may notice isn't weight loss or glowing skin. It's cravings. If sugary foods have become part of your daily routine, your brain has learned to expect them. Every sweet snack or sugary drink activates reward pathways that involve dopamine, a chemical associated with motivation and pleasure. Now, here's where there's a common misunderstanding. People often say sugar is as addictive as drugs. The scientific evidence doesn't fully support that claim. Researchers agree that sugary foods can strongly reinforce habits and cravings. But whether sugar causes true addiction in humans, the same way nicotine or opioids do, remains a matter of debate. What is well established is that habits can become incredibly powerful. Imagine someone who starts every morning with a sweet latte, drinks a fizzy drink in the afternoon, and finishes dinner with dessert every night. Their brain begins to expect those moments. When those sweet foods suddenly disappear, the brain notices. During the first few days, many people experience headaches, irritability, stronger cravings, difficulty concentrating, or feeling unusually tired. These symptoms don't necessarily mean your body is lacking sugar. Your body is actually very good at maintaining normal blood glucose levels. It can get glucose from whole grains, vegetables, fruits, dairy products, and even produce glucose when necessary through natural metabolic processes. Instead, much of this early discomfort comes from breaking a routine and adjusting to fewer intensely rewarding foods. The good news is that for many people, cravings gradually begin to fade after 1 or 2 weeks. One fascinating reason is that your sense of sweetness changes. If you've been eating highly sweet foods every day, your taste buds, and even more importantly, your brain, become accustomed to that level of sweetness. As you reduce added sugar, foods that once seemed ordinary begin tasting naturally sweeter. A strawberry suddenly tastes surprisingly sweet. Plain yogurt becomes enjoyable. Even carrots may seem sweeter than you remembered. Your body hasn't changed the fruit. Your perception has changed. At the same time, another important process is happening inside your body. Your blood sugar becomes more stable. Sugary drinks and sweets are absorbed very quickly. They cause blood glucose to rise rapidly, which leads to a release of insulin, the hormone responsible for moving glucose from the bloodstream into cells. For healthy individuals, this system works remarkably well. However, repeated spikes followed by rapid drops can leave some people feeling hungry again sooner, especially when meals are low in fiber or protein. Now imagine replacing a sugary breakfast with oatmeal, berries, and a handful of nuts. The fiber slows digestion. Protein helps increase fullness. Healthy fats delay stomach emptying. Instead of a rapid spike followed by a crash, glucose enters the bloodstream more gradually. Many people describe this as having steadier energy throughout the day. The evidence supporting this effect is strong, but there's an important detail. Simply removing sugar isn't enough. If sugary foods are replaced with other highly refined carbohydrates, the improvement may be much smaller. What replaces the sugar matters just as much as removing it. By the second and third week, changes often begin extending beyond your energy levels. Many people step onto the scale expecting dramatic weight loss. Sometimes they lose weight, sometimes they don't. Here's why. Sugar itself isn't uniquely responsible for weight gain. The bigger issue is that foods high in added sugar are often easy to overconsume. Sugary drinks are one of the best examples. Your brain doesn't register liquid calories as effectively as calories from solid food. Someone can drink several hundred calories in soft drinks without feeling significantly less hungry afterwards. When those drinks are removed and replaced with water or unsweetened beverages, overall calorie intake often falls naturally. That's why many people lose weight during a month without added sugar. But weight loss isn't guaranteed. If someone replaces soft drinks with large portions of fruit juice, sweetened smoothies, or high-calorie snacks labeled as healthy, the calorie difference may disappear. The lesson here is simple. Reducing added sugar works best when it improves the quality of the entire diet, not just one ingredient. Another important change may be happening inside an organ that rarely gets much attention: your liver. Every meal you eat eventually affects the liver because it's responsible for processing nutrients and helping regulate metabolism. When consumed in moderate amounts through whole fruits, fructose isn't usually a problem because fruit also provides fiber, water, vitamins, and minerals. The situation changes when large amounts of fructose come from sugary drinks and heavily processed foods. The liver has to process these concentrated sugars quickly. Over time, consistently high intakes may contribute to fat accumulation inside the liver, particularly in people who already have obesity or insulin resistance. Research shows that reducing sugar-sweetened beverages can decrease liver fat, especially in people with non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. This is one of the areas where scientific evidence is quite strong. However, if you're already healthy and consume very little added sugar, the difference after only 30 days may be relatively small. Another topic that often appears online is inflammation. You've probably heard someone say, sugar causes inflammation throughout the body. The reality is more complicated. Eating one slice of cake doesn't suddenly trigger chronic inflammation. What researchers actually observe is that dietary patterns high in sugary drinks and ultra-processed foods are associated with increased markers of inflammation and poorer long-term health. When people replace those foods with vegetables, fruits, legumes, whole grains, nuts, and healthier protein sources, inflammatory markers often improve. Notice the important difference. The benefit likely comes from improving the overall quality of the diet, not simply from removing sugar alone. Many people also hope their skin will improve. Can quitting added sugar really give you clearer skin? Possibly, but not for everyone. Studies suggest that high glycemic diets may worsen acne in susceptible individuals. The proposed explanation involves insulin and hormones that influence oil production within the skin. The evidence here is moderate rather than definitive. Some people notice fewer breakouts after reducing sugary foods. Others see little difference. Hydration may also improve if sugary drinks are replaced with water, which can indirectly support healthier-looking skin. But dramatic claims that quitting sugar instantly reverses aging or removes wrinkles simply aren't supported by strong scientific evidence. One of the most consistent changes people describe is improved energy. Interestingly, this isn't because sugar is bad for energy. Sugar actually provides energy very quickly. The problem is that it often provides it too quickly. Rapid digestion can create temporary highs followed by noticeable lows. Balanced meals containing fiber, protein, and healthy fats release energy much more gradually. Instead of constantly chasing another sugary snack to fight afternoon fatigue, many people begin experiencing fewer energy crashes. Sleep may also improve for some individuals, particularly if late-night sugary snacks are reduced, although research in this area remains mixed. Heart health may benefit as well. High intakes of added sugar have been linked to increased triglycerides, weight gain, and a higher risk of cardiovascular disease. Reducing added sugar can improve several of these risk factors. However, it's important to keep expectations realistic. Heart health depends on many factors working together. Physical activity, blood pressure, cholesterol levels, smoking, sleep, stress, genetics, and overall diet all play significant roles. Reducing added sugar is one positive step, not a complete solution. Perhaps the biggest misconception about sugar is the belief that your body somehow needs added sugar to survive. It doesn't. Your body absolutely requires glucose, but glucose doesn't have to come from sweets. It comes naturally from foods like oats, rice, potatoes, beans, fruit, vegetables, and milk. Even if carbohydrate intake becomes very low, your body has ways of producing glucose when necessary. Understanding this difference helps explain why nutrition experts encourage reducing added sugars while continuing to recommend whole fruits, vegetables, and other nutritious carbohydrate-containing foods. So if you're considering spending 30 days without added sugar, how should you approach it? Start by identifying where most of your added sugar actually comes from. For many people, it's not chocolate or desserts, it's drinks. Soft drinks, sweetened coffee, energy drinks, sweetened tea, and flavored beverages can contribute hundreds of calories and large amounts of added sugar every day. Replacing those with water, sparkling water, or unsweetened tea is often one of the simplest and most effective changes. Next, focus on replacement rather than restriction. Instead of sugary breakfast cereals, choose oats topped with fruit and nuts. Replace sweetened yogurt with plain yogurt and fresh berries. Choose snacks that combine protein and fiber, such as nuts with fruit or hummus with vegetables. Read food labels carefully. Added sugars appear under many different names, including sucrose, glucose syrup, cane sugar, maltose, dextrose, and high fructose corn syrup. Finally, don't aim for perfection. Healthy eating isn't ruined by one slice of birthday cake or a dessert during a family celebration. What matters most is your usual eating pattern over weeks, months, and years. Now, there are some people who should be cautious before making major dietary changes. If you have diabetes and use insulin or medications that lower blood sugar, changing your carbohydrate intake may require adjustments to your treatment plan. People recovering from eating disorders should avoid overly restrictive dietary rules, as they can sometimes worsen an unhealthy relationship with food. Athletes participating in prolonged endurance events may intentionally consume sugars during exercise because rapidly absorbed carbohydrates can improve performance. Pregnant individuals should focus on maintaining a balanced, nutritious diet rather than following highly restrictive eating plans unless advised by their healthcare provider. And if you're experiencing unexplained weight loss, severe fatigue, excessive thirst, or ongoing changes in blood sugar, it's important to seek medical advice rather than trying to manage the problem on your own. So what really happens if you stop eating added sugar for 30 days? Your brain gradually adjusts to fewer sweet foods. Cravings often become easier to manage. Blood sugar may become more stable. Energy can feel steadier. Many people naturally reduce their calorie intake, especially if sugary drinks were a regular habit. Some experience weight loss. Others notice improvements in liver health, blood fats, or overall metabolic health, particularly if they previously consumed large amounts of added sugar. But none of these changes happen because your body is being detoxified. They happen because you're replacing highly processed, sugar-rich foods with more nourishing choices. That's the real lesson. Health isn't about fearing one ingredient. It's about building an eating pattern that supports your body over the long term. If there's one practical takeaway from this video, let it be this. Instead of asking, how can I eliminate all sugar? Ask yourself, what is the biggest source of added sugar in my daily routine, and what healthier choice can I replace it with today? That single change, repeated consistently, is far more powerful than chasing the idea of a perfect, sugar-free life.